Welcome to Intimate Conversations. I'm your host, Allana Pratt. I'm passionate about your relationships thriving and your family flourishing through a healthy, intimate relationship with yourself, with Source, and with your beloved. So sit back, relax, because it's time to get intimate. It is so great to be with all of you. I can't believe how many years I've been doing this show, and every time I interview another guest, I'm like, oh my God, how can it get even better? And then it does. And I just know that's going to occur today as well, because we have a catalyst for transformation with us, Patty Alfonso, the creator of Pole Dancing for Consciousness, who uses access consciousness tools and her love for pole dancing to empower women to reclaim their innate sexualness so they may have profound intimacy with themselves and others. Knowing that everyone is an infinite being, Patty has made it her target to facilitate others in having radical awareness of their own gifts, generating dynamic change for themselves, and contributing to the consciousness of this reality. And she often asks, what would it take for everyone to know they are a gift and a contribution to this world? And what would we be able to create then? So she was born and raised in, how do I say that name in Puerto Rico? Puerto Rico?
Guaynabo.
Guaynabo. Okay, thank you. I'm a Canadian, so I'm not, my Spanish is not good enough. Patty received her bachelor's degree in sociology from Emory, and she's certified as a body-mind counselor and energy healing therapist. And her desire is to continue growing and empower her clients. That led her to Access Consciousness, where she became a certified facilitator. And I remember back, a couple months ago, was it maybe even 6 months by now, I don't know, but I was in the bathroom at my pole dancing class, and I'm kind of in another zone, you know, I'm running around in my underwear, and I see this glorious goddess, and I don't remember if she's like, are you Allana Pratt, or do I know you, or I don't know how we ended up talking, but it was love at first sight, and we've since danced together, and now we get to talk to each other, and all of us, I get to give you the gift of the amazing Patty Alfonso. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Yay. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm so glad that in the bathroom I chose in that moment to come up to you and be like, do we know each other? Because I remember seeing you at Being You Changing the World class,
that's right.
A few years ago. Yeah, and it was like an intro night or something like that, and I remember just being so struck by you and your grace and your beauty, and I'm just so glad that I took that chance, you know, and just kind of was like, hey, do we kind of know each other?
Oh, this is so, I'd forgotten. That's where it was, exactly, because, you know, going up to a woman in your underwear is like, it takes a little bit of courage, but...
Yeah. And, you know, it's somewhat easier at a pole dancing studio because most people are in their underwear walking around, but,
true.
You know.
It's totally true. For those of you that are just coming on, today we have Patty Alfonso with us. And if you want to learn more, if you're online listening, you can go to allanapratt.com/pole dance consciousness. Put it all together as one word. We're going to be talking about the magic of pole dancing, you and your body. So yeah, I'm so grateful that I met Dane. I so tease him. I'm like, when I first met him, I just saw this hot guy on a video talking about energy, and I'm like, oh, he has to be on the show. And since then, I've taken many courses, and we've created a DVD together, and I'm just so grateful to Access Consciousness. So what did you find first, Access or pole dancing, or was it kind of all at once?
I found pole dancing first. Well, I found my energy healing work first. And then in the journey of, rediscovering that part of myself, that sort of healer part of myself, and having the awareness that my body was a little bit locked down and a little bit shut, not a little bit, a lot actually, really shut down to energy and to, pleasure. And that led me to pole dancing. I was originally looking for a belly dancing class, but stumbled upon a pole dancing studio, and my body just like went, yes, that's what I would like. I'm like, okay. And so, that was about 3 years ago, and I started doing Access about 2 years ago. So it was about a year of pole dancing before I found Access Consciousness. And it was being in the question of like, what else is there? What else is possible here? What's next for me in my journey that landed me in Access Consciousness? And then continuing in that question of, okay, now I have all these tools. What else is possible? What else is next here? What else is looking to be created? And then I put the two together and created pole dancing for consciousness. So
so awesome. I so love it. And if you would take a step back even prior to this, being raised in Puerto Rico, like when did you come to the States and go to Emory, and when did this healing capacity awaken in you, as a small child or once you were a young woman, or how did it work?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had healing capacities. My body has always been a healing body. And I mean, maybe people will sort of resonate with this, but I was always the one in my family that kind of was like speaking the truth of what was really going on beyond like the masks that everybody was trying to put on. And I was always just aware of the energy beyond what was being projected. And, you know, I had a big mouth, so I was always the one pointing everything out. No, actually, you're really angry. And no, actually, you're being mean. And no, actually, you know, and as much as my family tried to sort of like shush me, I got shushed a lot when I was younger. It's just part of my being to just follow the energy and be with the energy. So I've always had these capacities. I think we all have these capacities, and we're entering into a time where we all really have the permission to get in touch with those capacities and abilities and express them in the world, however it is that you choose to express them. So I grew up in a really rigid, strict, sort of perfectionist kind of family. And I went off to college and I studied sociology, and I was also doing some acting at the time, and I moved out to California, and the business side of acting was just really harsh for my body and my system, and they didn't really know what to do with me because, you know, I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban and I speak Spanish, but I look like a total American. So they just didn't know what to do with me. And I just was always asking, like, there has to be more to life than this, you know, than like getting up and going to work and going to auditions and not really creating or generating anything in my life except that sort of routine. And I was really, really unhappy and really just like searching for something more. And that is how I ended up in energy healing school, in that sort of search for what else is out there and what else is within me that I'm not expressing. And so it's been an amazing journey of just self-discovery and really embodying who I truly be and how I can share that with the world and with people to create more consciousness and more awareness. Yeah.
What do your folks think now? Are they still back in Puerto Rico, or are they in the States?
It's funny. Well, my parents passed away a couple of years ago. And when I began doing my energy work, they were just kind of like, I don't get what you're doing. I have no idea, but okay. Like they at some point stopped trying to control me because they knew that they couldn't and that it would just make things worse. I just was always like, just let me be who I am. You just let me be. And my goal in life is to be happy and joyful, and just let me do that, you know? So they were just kind of like, I'm not sure what you're doing, but I guess. Actually, one of the last things that my mom said was like, I've never seen you this happy, and I'm so happy for you, you know. So even though they didn't really get it, they could see the transformation in me and the joy in me. And so that was enough. I think I told my mom that I was doing pole dancing like right when she got sick. I had a bruise, you know, on my knee or something, and she was like, what's that? And I gave her this like little secret, like this little part of me that I was keeping secret for so long. And she was just kind of like, what? And at that point, she was like, all right, whatever, like I'm the crazy one in my family. I'm the loopy, cousin Patty that lives all the way out in California with all the crazy hippies or whatever it is that they think,
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, okay, I give up, whatever you're going to do, you're going to do it. So it's funny. Yeah. But I didn't actually come out to really put it that way. I didn't actually come out with pole dancing and pole dancing for consciousness until this year. Pole dancing was really something that I was doing for me, just for me, just for fun, never tell anyone. It was something that I was doing as part of my healing journey and my connection and communion with my body. So it wasn't until this year that I was like, wow, this could be a really huge contribution to people. And I was just aware of the energy and the space of what else is possible with pole dancing for men and for women. And it's just taking off. I'm having so much fun. And with every class that I do, it's a new adventure, and I get more awarenesses and more gifts. And to watch women transform and open up and like tune into that like orgasmic, joyful energy and be like, wow, yes, this is what I would like to have. And then have them claim it and own it and go create it is, it's been a real gift.
It's awesome that you had that, those moments with your mom before she passed.
Yeah.
I remember when my mom passed, I know she had found my journals and she told me she had read them, and I was not very pleased about that. Those are my private property that I was storing. I guess that was the risk if I was going to store them at her house. And I had been a topless dancer in Japan, like 25 years ago, at this point. But mom died about 13 years ago, so this was still a while back. And it was just such a choice. Like, I'm going to be ashamed of who I am, or I'm going to stand in my truth. And regardless of her thoughts of her sexuality, this is me. And it transformed, Patty, into this conversation where we went out shopping for vibrators. And
I love it.
And we officially became sisters. Like, we shifted from mom and daughter to sisters in that moment, or beings in that moment. And when she died and we were cleaning out her house, my sister and I looked at each other. We're like, okay, who's going to take the drawer beside the bed? I'm like, you do it. No, you do it. And she had all these awesome toys. And we're like, yay, Mom. Good for you, Mom. She wouldn't share with us, but I could tell that she gave herself permission. And she'd never known how to give it to me, but she gave it to herself. And I'm so pleased to know that about my mom. So I'm really happy to hear that story about your mom. Beautiful.
It was, I love what you were saying about, taking the shame away. I don't remember the exact words you just used, but there is something about, the way that we can communicate something and be with something, whether it's, buying vibrators with your mom or talking about pole dancing, or whether it's some kind of abuse that you've been through. If you can be with that energy with total allowance and acceptance for yourself, and hey, this, like you said, this is me. I'm either going to be ashamed of myself or I'm going to own it and be it. And when you can transmute that energy for yourself, it creates a change in other people. I've had people tell me things that if it wasn't for the energy that they embodied while they were telling me it, I may have had a judgment about it. But the way that they were sharing it was so open and in allowance of themselves that I couldn't judge them. I couldn't. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I love that you brought that up. You were just like, hey, this is me, and I've been like that about almost everything that I've chosen in my life, my whole life. This is what I'm choosing for myself, and this is what works for me. And, you don't have to like it. I'm still going to do it.
Right. Well, it's curious you share that too, and I'd love to go deeper because I think shame it grows in secrecy.